What's happening? And welcome back to another episode of the I AFYL Podcast. 100 days until January 1st of 2025. We got 100 days. So in the next 100 days, we're going to focus in on what we should be focusing in on. And today is the kickoff to the 100 days of focus, focusing in on the right things. I got a few scriptures that have come to my attention that really should be made, just put at the top of the list of what we have to focus on as faith-driven entrepreneurs. Look, if this is your first time, listening or catching this video, this podcast, my name is Jim, I'm a healthy accountant. Now I help people to account for their life. And today we're really going to focus in on business and what we can do in 2024 so that 2025 and beyond can be the best it can ever be. So I want to give a shout out to a really, really, really powerful individual who has been inspiring me for many, many years. He's someone I've looked up to. He's someone that has millions and millions of followers, and his name is Dr. Eric Thomas, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. I just want to give him a shout out today because he's been an inspiration in my life and my business. I don't even know him personally. I know friends that know him, but I don't know him personally. But he's been an inspiration in my life, and I've always found things that he said and really took it to heart. So I just want to give a shout out to him. And if you don't know who he is, go find him on YouTube. He is amazing, and make sure you subscribe to his channel. So today we're really just going to jump into the biggest threat to faith-driven businesses. The biggest threat. Now, before I get into the biggest threat, before I get into the word, what I want to say is this. It's nothing like being a faith-driven business owner like myself and like you, and you're very optimistic. I'm very optimistic. I am not looking at the worst is yet to come, or I'm not looking at all the problems around me. I see them and I know that they're, but I'm looking at, well, it's going to be good. I'm just going to get through it. When in all honesty, we've got to look at the threat. There's a threat to our lives. And it's right in the Word of God. It's right in plain sight. It's right in the political climate. It's right in everything that we're seeing and experiencing right now in 2024. These are some of the threats. I'm not getting to the political, so don't think that I'm about to go there. But I'm just going to go into the Word where it tells us what we should be focused on. I'm going to go into my first text that I want to read is Ephesians. This is especially for business owners. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15 and 16. I'm going to read this because as a faith-driven business owner, this is important. And this is why your business is important. Verse 15 of Ephesians 5 says this: "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise." See, the interesting thing about some of these translations, it gets a little tough to understand. I'm going to read it even in the Message. I love how the Message says it. I love how the Message says it as well. So we're going to read verse 15. Actually, the Message, they do a little bit different. "But don't waste your time on useless work, mere busy work, the barren pursuits of darkness. Expose these things for the sham that they are." It's a scandal when people waste their lives on things they must do in the darkness where no one will see. Rip the cover off those frauds and see how attractive they look in the light of Christ. Now that's way different than what the King James said. I'm going to finish it in King James. Let's go back to the King James Version here. Read it again. "See then that we walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." How can a day be evil? Think about it. How can a day, like literally, it's you're watching this. It's on Tuesday. The 24th of September. How can Tuesday be evil? Why is Tuesday evil? Well, because the days are just evil. Now, what this is also saying is that we got to buy, as a business owner, faith-driven business owner, you got to buy back your time. In the message, it talked about don't waste your time on useless work. Don't waste your time on stuff that's not going to give you a return on investment. We've got to buy back our time because the days are evil. So they said the days are evil, but wait a second, let's go into John chapter 10 and verse 10. It says, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. And I am come that you might have life and have life more abundantly. But wait a second. So if the days are evil and the thief only comes, it's basically saying the thief is not coming unless he can destroy, unless he can kill, unless he can steal. He's only coming for that reason. So you think if you go into today, Tuesday, then the thief is coming to do all of those things and then some. Recently, it was September the 1st. Actually, just before September the 1st. And even before that, I remember having a conversation with my brother, and we were talking about, family stuff, and, our dad is not, he's, how would I say it? He's gotten older, right? And it's obvious, he's not moving as well, and then mom, she was doing okay, but we said something. It's like, man, we can't afford for mom to get sick. And do you know that mom, all of a sudden, is an issue? And literally, it took mom into a situation where she had to get surgery, been in the hospital for 3 weeks. Now, here's the thing. Mom is doing great. Mom's been in the hospital for 3 weeks. That's created some situations. It's created some situations where we needed help from my dad. It's created some situations where we've got to go back and forth to the hospital, back and forth to see dad, back and forth. Like literally, this happens in families like this. We're not the first. It's just one of these things where if the thief cometh only but to steal, kill, and destroy, then what do you think he's trying to do? He wants to destroy. He wants to destroy something in this moment, not just to kill somebody, not just to take a life, but the thief wants to take away even more. But today is evil, it says. It says the days are evil, so I've got to buy back. As a faith-driven business owner, we've got to buy back our time. What's interesting is that, have you ever worked all day and, got to the end of the day and said to yourself, man, what in the heck did I accomplish today? Have you ever, went through a whole week and wondered, well, what did we do this week? Because I'm looking at the scorecard and I'm still a little bit short. Have you ever gone a whole year and you get to the end of the year and you're looking at your financials and you're saying to yourself, well, why didn't things go the way that I'd like them to go? You ask yourself that question. It's like, well, what happened? We didn't buy it back. We didn't buy back the time. Now what's interesting, I'm reading this book. It's a novel. It's called The Goal. Can't remember the guy who wrote it, but it's based on some scientific principles about, manufacturing business, but how it applies to anybody's business. And one of the things that they had to realize in the process of figuring out what the goal was they had to figure out what the goal is. And in the manufacturing business, they were not focused in on what the real goal is and what the real goal was. You would ask, what is the main goal in your business as a faith-driven leader, faith-driven business owner? I want you to write it down. Write down what you would think the main goal in your business is. I'm going to tell you what the main goal is. Because think about this. The guy that the book was about, or it was him being in the story. He was the, the manager of a manufacturing plant. All they did was manufacture the stuff that the other parts of the business sold. And so they didn't know what the goal was. They thought it was just production. They thought it was just getting the products out when that wasn't the goal. The goal was to make money. And even at the level where they're not involved in, they don't sell the products, but they had to understand what the goal was, and they had to find out, well, if the goal is to make money, then what was causing us to not make money? And there were a lot of constraints in their business, a lot of constraints in the manufacturing process that they had to start identifying when it came to their goal. See, because if they didn't identify the correct things in their business, if they didn't find the constraints, and if they didn't fix them, they would never reach the goal. They were faced with one of the biggest challenges that most businesses have. This particular business had. They were going to be shut down. Many faith-driven businesses are going to be shut down at some point because they're not focused on the goal. When you're not focused on making money, buying back your time. Look, I'm telling you, man, I got another book behind me. What's the name of the book? It's called Buy Back Your Time. It's written by a guy named Dan Martell. And the whole premise of the book is you've got to buy back your time, and it gives you steps and principles for how to buy it back. That says the constraint in my faith-driven business has been buying back time, has been the lack of putting people in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing so that you can make money. So if even in the Bible, it's saying that we got to buy back our time because the days are evil. So if you don't buy back the time, the thief is coming to steal, kill, and destroy, because it's nothing like waking up one morning and all hell breaks loose. And then you're not able to buy back your time, and you're stuck, and you're trying to figure out, how do I get out? And you're trying to figure out, how do I fix it? But it's getting to the heart of the matter. The heart of the matter is this. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking for whom he may devour. What's the biggest threat to a faith-driven business? Your adversary is the biggest threat. The days are evil, right? He's coming to steal, kill, and destroy. But if we're not sober, meaning if we don't have a clear mind, if we're not vigilant, I'm thinking diligent. If we're not vigilant, if we're not on track, on focus, the lion, he says he walking around like a roaring lion. So he's coming for your family. He's coming for your money. He's coming for your health. He's coming for your marriage. He's coming for your kids. He's coming. So as a faith-driven business, we got to look at what is the threat, what is the constraint, where am I the weakest? Am I the weakest? As a faith-driven business owner and leader, we all have a weakness. That is where he's coming for, because he knows when he gets you there, most of us will fall. Most of us will fall. Most of us will go down, and most of us won't be able to stand fast. But it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh around seeking for whom he may devour. Now, before we leave today, let's really think about this big threat to your business, and how focus, right, purpose, and faith will help us finish this year so that next year. Now, here's the thing. We don't know We don't know what the adversary has up his sleeve. But there is a text. I don't always know what they all found. I just have them in my spirit. And the text says, if my people would humble themselves and pray, I would heal their land. So as a faith-driven business leader, one of the biggest threat is the lack of prayer. The lack of focusing on what prayer really is, like cutting off the noise. There's so much noise right now. And I'm not going to name it because I don't want to give it any more power than it already has. But there's so much noise to keep many of us from our God-given destinies. Why don't we take these next 100 days and just get rid of all the noise? I'm going to do it. Are you going to do it? Are you going to say, you know what? I'm going to get rid of all the noise. I'm going to block out all the noise. I'm going to watch Jay's podcast every day for the next 100 days. I'm going to get empowered. I'm going to get inspired. Look, I'm going to focus in on my purpose. I'm going to focus in on the fact that, look, prayer, guys, I got to be honest. This is my weakness. Prayer has been my weakness. Prayer has been my weakness. It's huge weakness. I have not taken prayer seriously. So I repent today of a mindset that potentially threatens my whole life, my family, threatens everybody around me because of my lack of prayer. I'm not telling you I don't pray. What I'm telling you is that that's the biggest threat. It's not the fact that, oh, you need more money. That's not the biggest threat. The biggest threat is the lack of real focused prayer. This is not about praying for hours on end, but this is about a connection that cannot be severed, because when the connection can't be severed, the enemy has no chance at all to take us out. So for the next 100 days and beyond, we're going to focus in on the prayer. We're going to focus in, and you get the prayer on your own. This is not about me coming to pray. Pray here. This is me being a beacon, a bullhorn of which, just to remind us that it's our whole experience has been threatened because of the lack of prayer. The things that are happening in the world are threatened right now, are happening because we as faith-driven leaders have not humbled ourselves and prayed. So let's get together. Let's pray. Let's focus. Let's renew in the purpose for which God has created us. Take our businesses to the next level by buying back all of your time. The days are evil. We don't know what's ahead, but let's buy it all up so that we can move the movement of God forward. My name is Jay, I'm a healthy accountant, and my life's purpose and mission is to help people to account for their life. God bless, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.